Hi, I'm John from Pico Tea. Today I want to talk to you a bit about a tea that I really like. It's called Jethi Kupi. It's a first flush Darjeeling from the Rohini tea estate. So first of all, let's have a look at the leaves. So you can see that the leaves are quite green. And that is because it has been oxidized quite lightly. This gives it a really nice flavor. So we'll talk a bit about what the tea actually is and why I like it so much. So Rohini Tea Estate is in Darjeeling. It is between 1,000 and 3,000 feet, so it's quite low down. And because it's quite low down, it gets warm earlier in the season. This has meant over the past few years, particularly with climate change, that the first flush harvest starts very early. It's been starting quite early in February recently. So we get this first harvest coming to us towards the end of February, start of March every year. We trade this one directly with the tea estate, which is a really good thing for us because it's produced in very small quantities. It's a micro lot of tea, so there's 10 kilos per lot is made. And it is one of the first Darjeelings to be harvested every year in India. The Rohini Tea Estate has been working really hard recently to try and generate more income for themselves. Darjeeling has been not very profitable for a lot of the tea estates, particularly the independent ones, over a long period of time. And there's a lot of middlemen trading happens with the Darjeeling teas, and poor prices are paid. So what Rohini has been doing, and with the sister plantation Gokuldara, has been experimenting with lots of different types of clones of the tea plant. Rohini, when I last checked, was using about 7 different clones, and each different clone produces a different type of tea. This one is from a clone called the BB157 clone. This originated in the Bannockburn tea estate. And is very, very nice for producing light early harvest teas. So first flush teas are, for a long time they were marketed as black tea, but actually I like to think of first flush teas being their own thing from Darjeeling. The reason being is that first flush encompasses a very large range of oxidation levels, from quite light all the way down to quite dark. It used to be very fashionable to make the Darjeeling first flush teas quite dark, and they'd be dark and nutty in flavour. But over the years, the trend has changed to make them lighter, and this has meant that the flavours that are produced from them are a lot more fruity and floral, something almost like tropical fruit sometimes. So the way to brew this tea, we'll brew it and you can have a look at what it looks like. But what we found with this tea after experimenting for a long period of time was that if you brew it at boiling water for about 3 to 5 minutes and then decant it completely into your cup and then leave it to cool down to maybe sort of 60-ish degrees, then you get these amazing floral fruity flavours from it with a little bit of astringency. Astringency, if you don't know, is similar to bitterness, but it's different in that it's the drying of your mouth. It's not the bitter flavour on your tongue. It's the drying out that you get when you eat high cocoa content chocolate and you drink green teas. Yeah, it can actually be very, very pleasant, whilst bitterness sometimes can be not very nice. So when I talk about pleasant astringency, it's this really kind of quite pleasant prickliness at the back of the tongue. It's very refreshing. So we're going to brew this now for 3 minutes, and when I pour it out, you'll see the colour of the infusion. So now we've infused this for 3 minutes, a little over 3 minutes actually, and you can see the colour of the liquor is really nice golden yellow. It's very, very clear. I'm just going to lift the basket out as well, and you can see that the leaves have nicely expanded. They're very green in colour, but they're not green tea. Technically, if you wanted to put something on it, it would be an oolong, but I like to stay away from using the term oolong for anything outside of China. So it's semi-oxidized, and it's been done through a particular type of withering. So really little processing is done to it. The tea is picked, it's put into the withering bins. It's withered for about 48 hours or so, and then it's put into a very, very light roll in a rolling machine, and then it's dried. And that's all that happens. And it's just the ambient temperature which is causing it to start to oxidize. But there's nothing much else done to it. One thing I haven't mentioned is what Jethi Kupi means, and actually that's very interesting. This particular tea is an FTG FOP1, finest tippy golden flowery orange pekoe, top grade tea. But this particular one, because the leaves are so young at the start of the season, they grow in these kind of cone shapes. So one of the things that Rohini Tea Estate has been doing to try and be better at their marketing is giving their teas different names. So this one's called Jethi Kupi. They have like Enigma and things like that. They have Red Thunder Gold later in the year. But Jethi Kupi, I asked Rishi, who owns the tea estate, what it means. It's from the local dialect, and Jethi means the firstborn daughter, and Kupi meaning cone-shaped. And really, it was a description of what the leaf looks like with the bud, and the first leaf was kind of cone-shaped around the bud, and the first daughter basically being it's the first harvest of the season. So we'll have a taste. So what I'm getting from this is a really rich fruitiness, and then that really nice prickly kind of astringency at the end, which I just find really refreshing. I would maybe leave it to cool down a little bit longer than I have just now. But it's something which is just a very nice tea to drink. It's different from other first flushes. It's got a particular flavour and aroma to it. The batches of this, they only make it 10 kilos at a time. It has an invoice number under EX, which means that it's an extra special invoice number. It means that it's made in very small amounts. We only buy 2 or 3 kilos of this every year. It is quite expensive, but 100% of what we pay for it goes directly to the tea estate, and I really think it's worth every penny. I think Darjeelings sometimes are a bit underrated for some of the exquisite things they're doing with them. I think sometimes Darjeeling is seen as just, it's known as the champagne of teas. It's known as this kind of slightly darker tea with this kind of muscatel, grapey flavour to it. But what they're trying to do in Darjeeling is really compete with some of the high-end teas which are coming out of China, which are coming out of Japan, and to try and do something completely different. And I really think that not only is this tea something which is pleasant to drink, it's supporting this kind of new industry in the Darjeeling tea sector, and I really think it's something which is worthwhile getting behind.